sort of used to, but I don't really like appearing on video, so I haven't really worked with it much.
We're live. I'm so
Yay.
sorry. Okay, y'all. I'm Arwen, the Joy Seeker, and I'm scattered this morning. I do apologize. Please help me welcome my fellow New Mexican, and I'm going to say her name, Eva. It may be Eva.
That is correct. Yep. No, Eva's right.
Eva? Okay, good. Eva. And she is from a neighboring town from me. We've never actually met, but we're like, I don't know, an hour apart. So you would think one of us could get on our broom and fly there. She is a fellow witch, and she is a deck designer and has designed the incredibly neat Southwest Lenormand. Now, Eva, please tell us a little bit about you and how did you get to New Mexico?
Well, we used to live in Vermont, and both my husband and I have some health issues, so winter back there was getting to be a little bit too much for us. So we said, hey, we'll hop in the RV, we'll go spend the winter in Arizona, and then we'll go back, and we'll just go back and forth. Well, we got to Russell's Truck Stop, which is just after you pass the border from Texas into New Mexico. And we had just gassed up and we're getting back on I-40, and about 1,000 feet up the on-ramp, the engine blew in the motorhome. So we got towed to Tucumcari because it was the closest city that there was. And we ended up staying there for a little while at the KOA campground and decided that we really, really liked the town. We liked the weather, we liked the small town vibe, so we happened to stumble across a house, and the rest is sort of history.
Well, that's a wonderful story. I really like that. And y'all, Tucumcari is it's a really cool little town. I worked for a paper that actually did. We published it, and I sold advertising for it, but I never made it out there. I've driven through it when I'm going up to Denver. I think they take me through Tucumcari. But we live in a state that is full of magic. It's an incredibly land magic state for me. Do you find the same energy here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's hard to explain sometimes and hard to put into words, but there's just, you've got the big open sky, and you've got, a lot of natural elements out here that back in Vermont, it's also very claustrophobic and closed in and doesn't have anywhere near the same energy.
And your deck, you've done, it looks like there's pictures of places around, some places that I happen to know. So tell me a little bit about why you wanted to create. I know you've got an Oracle deck going, but why create a Lenormand deck? What was the call for you?
For me, it was because this is actually my second Lenormand deck that I've produced. The first one was about Tudor England. So for me, I like to tie things that I'm passionate about into creations that I can use. And there are a lot of really great decks out there, but I don't always feel that connection with them. So for me, it's more it starts out as my personal thing. I feel really connected to this, and I kind of build something that works for me really, really well. And then people go, hey, that's really cool. Are you going to sell those? And that's sort of how I got into actually publishing them for other people.
And you're a photography artist. I mean, it looks like that photography is one of your main mediums, because she also sells prints on her site, which I've got the link down below. And when you go to her site, there's a beautiful, impressive picture. And the title of it is, I Left My Heart at Traitor's Gate. Is that the Tower of London?
That is the Tower of London. I am a huge Tudor England fan. I'm actually getting ready to go for my bachelor's in European history, and focusing on that time period, because there's something about that time period and that story that just resonates with me, and I've somehow managed to work it into like everything that I do, which is kind of crazy. Like I'm finishing up my associate's degree at Mesalands Community College, and so I've managed to work somehow Henry VIII into everything I've done. I did a biology paper where I talked about um, why it is that he didn't have so many male heirs, why his wives kept miscarrying. And then I've worked it into my Western civilization papers, and I've worked it into kind of everything that I possibly can. So I get a little obsessive sometimes when I find something I'm passionate about.
Well, I have to tell you that have a passion for the Elizabethan era, so Henry's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And to the point that I can identify a lot of costuming, and I can tell you what period's from based on what's going on.
Yep.
But I did a past life regression because I was sure I was part of Queen Elizabeth's court. I was in the right time period. However, apparently the peasants of the time were as mad for royal gossip as we are today. Because when I came into my regression, the way this is done, it's a Dick Sutphen style. You look at your ankle or your feet and you come up. Well, I couldn't see my feet because I was up to my ankle in pig shit and mud. So much for dreams of gorgeous dresses.
Oh, I know, right?
Have you ever done any past life work?
I do some past life readings. I haven't actually done anything on myself. I get some vibes as to things I may have done in past lives. I feel very connected, of course, to England. I also feel a really deep connection to Egypt, which, I'd be interested to explore that more, but I don't do so great reading for myself.
Yeah, for me,
I think I get in my head too much.
I want to see stuff. I've had, when I was swimming once, I used to do lap swimming pretty regularly. And I was just kind of zoning out and swimming because I just needed to get that. I think I was doing, at the point, I was trying to hit a half mile by that point. And all of a sudden, inches. And I open my eyes as I'm swimming because I have my goggles on, and I'm seeing not the bottom of the pool, but a sandy bottom. And in my vision, I swim into and walk up stairs to some sort of temple. And it felt Greece or somewhere Mediterranean. Mm-hmm. Never really explored it, but my other one is China. One of my first experiences with woo-woo, I was reading a book by Pearl S. Buck, and she described it's called Imperial Woman, and she is describing a palace, and they're walking down a hall, and all of a sudden I know what the next scene is. I know what she's going to describe. So mm-hmm. I think that, so what have you had? What kind of, if you can talk about it?
For me, it's not so much wakeful visions as it is more dreams. And they're like really vivid to the point where later I might see a photograph and I can picture what the entire place looked like, not just that little part of the picture. So for me, it's more stuff that comes to me while I'm asleep.
I was told by somebody that repetitive dreams are past life. So I used to have repetitive dreams, but I don't anymore. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if I did what I needed to do with them, but one of them was super annoying. I had to walk up tower steps with a bowl of soup, and I was dressed in like raggedy ass clothes. I had to be a slave or a servant. But if I spilled the soup, I had to clean it up, go back downstairs, get a fresh bowl of soup. And it was a pain in the butt. I'm pretty sure I died because I probably spoke out about it. So back off. This is stupid. So Eva, tell me a little bit about, let's see, I want to look at sailing on Ute Lake. And y'all, this is one of her cards out of the Southwest Lenormand. This is the boat. It's easy to identify as the boat. And then she gives us a title and gives us information based on keywords, what the cartomancy is in terms of the playing card, and what part of the body is affected. So tell us about this picture. Do you remember what was going on when you saw this?
It was, I want to say it was like 4th of July weekend 2 years ago, maybe. And Ute Lake is just, it's such a pretty area. And, when I tell people that, I live in New Mexico, and then you tell them that there are lakes and there are big bodies of water, they kind of look at you sometimes like you're crazy. But it's fun to go hang out on the lake because, I mean, that's like the thing that everybody does around here. We all get together, grab some beers, grab some, whatever, and go hang out at the lake. So,
Yeah, very cool. And when I got to New Mexico, that was my feeling because I'm a Louisiana girl by birth. So where I grew up, you couldn't step left or right without hitting water. And then I moved to Texas. Well, I've moved all over, but Texas was where I came from here. And in Austin, we have some pretty famous watering spots. One is called Hippie Hollow. And if you're not familiar with Hippie Hollow, it is clothing optional. So it's a lot of fun and a lot of people go. I've never been there. Not for any reason other than I just never got the time to go. But here's another picture of another really famous New Mexico hole of water. Tell us about this one. Tell us where this was taken and why it's important in New Mexico.
That is the Blue Hole, which is in Santa Rosa. It's a town about 60 minutes away from where we are right now. And it is this incredible geologic spot that the water is so deep and it's really clear to a great depth. And it's almost like a round hole in the ground. They actually use it for diving practice for like some of the deep water recovery units that work with like the police and stuff. It's a really fantastic little kind of out of the way spot because if you've ever been to Santa Rosa, there's not a whole lot there.
Hey, you can eat at Joe's.
You can eat at Joe's, but there's not a whole lot else to do. It's one of those, it's sort of a pass through town, and this is a great excuse to stop and check it out.
And one of Santa Rosa's claims to fame, for those of you who don't know, is the beautiful sunsets. I've driven through there and actually coming back from Albuquerque or Santa Fe and kind of timed it. I would look up sunset on my phone and timed when I was driving past Santa Rosa so I could kind of look in the rear view. New Mexico sunsets, y'all, when they say the land of enchantment, that is one of the reasons.
Oh, they're absolutely
got tagged with that.
They're gorgeous. It's like nothing I had ever seen before when I came out here.
Yeah, really, really spectacular. And there's a reason Georgia O'Keeffe painted here. There's a reason there's a Taos painter collective and Santa Fe. It's truly an amazingly gorgeous state. So if you ever get the chance, come out. We'll meet you for coffee.
That's right.
At Joseph's. Now, tell me a little bit about this one. I think I know where you took it because I think I have stopped here as well. But this is the coffin, and you'll see that Eva doesn't shy away from the macabre in a sense, but tell us a little bit about this guy once he focuses.
That one actually is it's not a picture that I took, but it's a picture that I worked on getting, and I believe that is from down by the Billy the Kid Museum. Which, most everybody knows who Billy the Kid is. And, the Fort Sumner area is not that far from us. It's maybe an hour and a half. So, you can go and you can see this fantastic museum that they've got down there of all this Billy the Kid memorabilia, which, for me is a ton of fun because, you grew up with the Old West stories and the Pony Express and Billy the Kid and all the rest of them. And to actually have all that history so close by is really cool.
It is, and it is the Billy the Kid Museum. I've been there when I moved here. One of the things my husband and I did was went up there. Now, true story. Do you know that there are 3 claimed burial sites for Billy the Kid? One's in Texas, here in Arizona.
Yep, because there's so much controversy about whether or not he actually died when people say he did. So,
Yeah, the one in Texas, I've actually stopped and taken a picture of because when I was driving back and forth to see my husband here, I used to go through a little town. I can't think of the town right now. It's not Heiko, but it's somewhere in that vicinity. And there was a great, I love cemeteries. I'm fascinated by cemeteries. And there was a grave that was obviously somebody of somebody because it had a fence around it and a big thing. So one day I just stopped and walked in, and sure enough, it was Billy the Kid. Now I'm going to try to get this one to focus again, y'all, so you can get a better look at this. There we go. Dead dude in a coffin. Right? It's a fallen Old West gunfighter. Now the cool thing about this is that there's no way to know, I don't think, which side he was on, and it's interesting because the younger, oh, who was it? The Younger something gang, the James Younger gang, Jesse James and the Younger brothers.
yep.
Some people will tell you they were heroes. Other people will tell you they were killers. So it's always, it's kind of like where Christianity's come in and taken over, those dirty, filthy, rotten pagans, or those, dream crushing Christians. I don't believe that Christians crush dreams, just caveat. But it's interesting to read the full story on some of these things.
Oh, absolutely.
What's the best card in here for the best story?
The best one? I don't know. Flash some at me, and I'll tell you how I feel about them.
Well, I love snake.
Oh yes, rattlesnakes.
Now, did you take that picture?
I did not. A friend of mine actually did. He kills rattlesnakes pretty regularly in his yard, and I've seen a couple since we've been out here. But we're lucky enough that we have some bull snakes on the property, and bull snakes are really good at keeping away rattlers, which is great because we have 4 dogs and 2 cats. So,
well, tell your friend if he ever wants to sell rattles or snake skin, I would love to talk to him.
All right, I will do that. He sells guns. He's got his federal firearms license, and so he takes a lot of the rattlesnake skin and he makes holsters and stuff like that for guns, and he does some beautiful work.
Yeah, or even a shed skin. So yeah, but I actually found my husband just about flipped out on me. We went up to Fort Sumter, or Sumner, I always call it Sumter. That's in South Carolina, to go buy a trailer. And we're talking to the guy about the trailer, and I looked down, and there is a huge dead rattlesnake that's obviously getting run over. And so I'm looking at it, and it's, of course, worn away, and I pick up like 3 vertebrae. My husband does not appreciate, enjoy anything about snakes. So just the fact that I had the vertebrae wigged him out. But I mean, I will stop. I keep saying I'm going to stop. We have porcupines around here, guys. It's kind of over on the West Texas side, and sometimes eastern New Mexico you can see them, but mostly West Texas. And I always want to stop and pull some quills just because I want them. I never have because I'm worried that people will think, what is that crazy woman doing? But now, do you work with animal parts? Or does that come into your practice?
Not so much. Occasionally I'll use crystals, but for the most part it's just cards, and every once in a while I'll light a candle. I don't have any big woo rituals or anything that I do.
I am desperately seeking roadrunner feathers. Desperately seeking them. Now I want to talk to you.
I'll keep an eye out because I have a whole family of them living in the yard. So.
Oh, cool! Yeah, I would love that. They fascinate me. I see them a lot, but luckily, I don't see them on the side of the road, and that's what I don't want to. Now, tell me a little bit about
little birds.
Aren't they both? Y'all, they eat lizards. They are carnivorous. Tell me a little bit about Miss Cynthia Ann Parker. Let me see if I can get her to focus.
Cynthia Parker was a little girl that ended up being raised by Indians, and she suffered a lot of what was really common in those days, where if you were taken by Indians and you were brought back to the white man, that, you know, you were somehow seen as less than human because you had allowed them to take you. Which, you know, I don't know how I feel about that. It wasn't any fault of her own because she was so young when she was taken, you know, and it just really showed how closed-minded people were back then.
Yeah, yeah, because you know, that culture really saw Native American the way many people, to some degree, still see blacks: dirty,
Mm-hmm.
ignorant, uncultured, really, really awful things. And it really comes down for me to that: you're different than me, you must be bad.
Yep.
You know, I see it with Christians and pagans. I see it with Muslims, and you know, just everybody. And I really wish that we could make that, create a web so we could really understand that when you tug on this line, it's going to affect this line. Now, tell me about Shiprock, which is a place that I have seen.
Oh, Shiprock is gorgeous. If I could like live there and not have like heat and bugs and stuff like that, I totally would. um, because I am actually, the associate's degree that I'm working on right now is actually in paleontology. And so we've done a lot of work with paleontology and geography over the last 2 years. And Shiprock actually used to be a volcano. And that formation there is actually where the neck of the volcano used to be. And I find that just so absolutely fascinating. And if you ever look at an aerial shot, you can actually see these lines that sort of come out across the land, which were cracks where the magma came up. So it's really fascinating.
Tell people where Shiprock is located, because if I'm not mistaken, it's up near Grants, or am I thinking of the wrong thing?
I believe it is in the top left corner of the state.
And that's where Grants is. It's up almost to the Arizona border.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a casino at Shiprock, y'all. That's why I know where it is.
Oh yes, casinos. Love those. They keep talking about bringing a casino to Tucumcari, but I don't know if it's ever going to happen. They wanted to build a racetrack and a casino, which I think would be fantastic for.
I don't think we did it here in the city of the Shifty 50. So, although we do have a casino, it's a bingo hall right now, and they've got games, but they've never, to my knowledge, turned them on. And I actually live, y'all, in a very famous area for archaeology. I live in a city called Clovis, and if you've ever heard of the Clovis Man, bingo, this is where he was discovered. So have you ever been down to the Blackwater Draw site or any of that?
I have. As part of my paleontology program, I had a research class, and I've been studying the Smilodon, which is a saber-toothed cat, and they had some artifacts down there, some jaw bones that they had found in the area. So I touched base with them, but they've got a lot of what they call Clovis points, which are like arrowheads. There are some mammoth remains that have been found in the area. And the site itself, you know, it's not huge, but there's like where they had a well of some sort, and there's, you know, you can walk through where these people actually were, you know, 125, 130,000 years ago, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I was really, when I got here, it didn't really click with me. I mean, I have a love of archaeology, not a real passion. In my hometown, I happened to be horseback riding and came across a bunch of people digging in the dirt. And when I stopped to ask them, they were college students from my local college. And somebody it was on a levee, and somebody had either unearthed it or the water had unearthed an old canoe. And it was really, really old. So it's probably from the Washita tribe, which is the parish I'm from. Now, tell me a little bit about how you got this picture. This is an excerpt, if you will, of an incredibly famous artist who is known for her New Mexico work, But what people don't know is that she's also known for her New York work and work out of a plane. She used to paint what she saw out of a plane.
Ah, the Georgia O'Keeffe. Um,
Yes, it's a beautiful
with
card. Let me get it up here so people can see that. There.
with Georgia, she is really known for her florals and her close ups of different objects. Um, but she lived in a place called Ghost Ranch, which is up above Albuquerque, and we actually, as part of the dinosaur museum here, go up to Ghost Ranch quite regularly because that's actually where there's a large deposit of the state fossil called the Coelophysis. So get to go up and hang out. There's a ranch house up there where we get to stay, and so it's a really,
Jealous!
I know, right? It's a really great experience, and so you get to see where she lived and a lot of the artwork that she has up there. It's really, really fun.
I think that one of my favorite things in this deck is that you flip back and forth from really kind of traditional Southwestern stuff, and then you go into some kind of kitschy, touristy stuff. And we talked earlier, y'all, about we both like to go do touristy things. So, one day you may get a vlog of us out on a tourist trap, and there will be much laughter. But this is a really cool sun card. And I know this sign.
The Sun and Sand. It's so fantastic out here, and I hate that I use the word fantastic all the time, but really it's the best word I can come up with, and especially here in Tucumcari, but you have so many of that retro 50s signs around. Both there and like here in town, we have several that still have the neon up, including the Blue Swallow Motel, which like almost everybody knows. I was doing a photography class the other day, and we were doing working with Photoshop and layers, and the guy, he brings up a picture of the Blue Swallow, and I'm like, hey, I know that place. That's just up the street from me. So, but it's such a cool vibe, that feels almost like you stepped back in time back here. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and I like that here in Clovis we have we go to a restaurant, K-Bob's. It's a chain, but it's a steakhouse, and they have old pictures of Clovis up around the walls, which is really cool to look at and kind of see, because you can still see those places when you walk downtown. That you can look down and see the Hotel Clovis and all of these things. And Clovis actually had, which is very cool to me. I can't think of it. Not the Gilmore Girls, the hotels. What were those women's names? Oh gosh, but they're hotels that were set up along railroad stops, and women came out to be hostesses.
The Harvey Girls.
Harvey, thank you. It's a Harvey house, and we have a Harvey house here in town. So very cool to me because I love history like that. I want to go on the steam engine train too that goes from Champa up and comes back. It goes to Colorado somewhere. So now you have some iconic New Mexico stuff. Tell people about what this is. Let me get it to focus first so that people can get a good. This is the heart card, and it's titled Zia Heart. What's a Zia?
The Zia it's a symbol that each of those four spikes that come out, they correspond to north, south, east, west. They correspond to infancy, young adult, and older person. There's the different correspondences for each of those. Earth, wind, air, fire. It's really just this neat symbol that can encompass a lot of different things.
You've got at least two examples of it because the ring also it's a turquoise ring with a Zia heart on it, or a Zia sun. And let's look at dog, because I'm an ex-dog groomer. And I just love this particular breed. They are super intelligent, super active, and if you don't keep them busy, super destructive.
Oh, I know. We've got two actual full-blooded healers right now, and then we've got one that we purchased him thinking that he was a healer. He looked like a healer. He was adorable when he was little, and then his tail curled up like a little pig. So we messaged the people we bought him from, and they're like, hey, by the way, what were his parents again? And they're like, well, on mom's side, he was a blue heeler border collie, and on dad's side, he was a puggle.
Puggle,
So
I
now
was going to ask you if he was a Basenji like this. Y'all, this is from actually the dog from the fairy tale in Norman that my
They are
friend bought for
fantastic
me.
dogs.
They are monkey dogs.
Oh yeah,
Let's see. So somebody's got to go. Okay, bye-bye, y'all. Oh, somebody's going to be doing a Mary L chat at 1:30 Pacific, the Tiger's Abyss, y'all. So mark that down. 1:30 Pacific is 12:30 Mountain, if you're counting. Now, let me ask you this. What else can we expect from you? What are some of the things that might pop up on Tiamat Design Company?
I'm working a lot with my photographs and my paintings right now, trying to get those up. I want to offer, other than just art prints, greeting cards, coffee mugs, stuff like that. So I'm really focusing on that at the moment, but I do have plans in the works for, I'd like to do a full tarot deck. I started with the Lenormand because it's only the 36 cards, and I figured, well, that's a nice way to break into it. And then with the Delphi Oracle deck that I just released this week, it originally was going to be more of a cartoony kind of style, and I had found an artist that I really, really liked. But the expense of that and the direction it was going, I just wasn't happy with it. And I am a big, big art fan. So when I started looking, through some of the artwork of Greek gods and goddesses, I'm so struck by that time period where, men were men and there were big muscles and the epitome of what they thought a man should be. And women were all lush curves and not these little stick figures, and there's some real beautiful artwork out there that just really captures not only, the people themselves, the gods and goddesses, but also these great allegories and archetypes that work really well.
Very cool. Now, you're a reader as well. She has To Compare Tarot. She does do readings online, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I tried briefly to do the like with local events to do the live readings. But people in this area, while they're all very nice, it is also a very religious area. I think our last census, like 90% of the county identifies as Catholic, and I have, I've had some horrible things said to me, so I figured it's safer to just sort of stay in the closet in town and do the online thing.
Yeah, I actually am taking down my Yelp page because it's only for in-person stuff. And while I've got incredibly good reviews, and when I lived in Austin, it was awesome. I got a lot of gigs from it. I got to do one of my big brags is that I got to do a show at South by Southwest where they made me up to look very crony, and my reading partner also, and we went in as hags to read for the CW show Salem.
Oh, fun.
It was amazing fun. Lucy Lawless was on property, and I never got to see her. And man, I was looking for her. That would have been the highlight of my year because I'll just call her Xena and out myself as a total Xena freak. So I made my husband watch a few early shows, and he's like, "This is incredibly cheesy." Yes, it is.
It is, but when it was first out and we were watching it, it was just the coolest thing. And the same with Hercules with Kevin Sorbo. It's like, now you look back at it and you're like, oh God, I watched that.
Right, I not only watched it, I made sure to come home not to miss it.
Yep.
So let's do this. We're kind of, Is there anything else you want to talk about before I wanted to try to do a few readings for folks in the chat room?
I think that I'm good. I'll follow your
Okay.
lead.
Now, do you have your deck with you, like your Lenormand deck, or do you have?
I don't at the moment.
Well, what I will do is I will shuffle. Okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. Chaotic this and that is an automatic read because he's been my channel moderator. And I do the Xena warrior cry. Hang on, let me back up. Kinda. True story. One of my partners didn't watch her computer very well, and I changed the boot up sound to that cry at top sound, and then I changed the when because computers used to boot up with a sound and then make a sound when they shut down, and the shutdown was, "He's dead, Jim."
That's fantastic.
Proving that I'm a super geek. And I hope that I didn't just blast your ears out. I tried to get far back, but boy, that's loud. So, 3 people plus chaotic this and that get a reading. What you need to do is say, I want a reading in all capital letters. If it's not all caps, we're going to skip it. I'm crazy hardcore about that because I miss it otherwise. So while they're getting geared up, I'm going to shuffle and watch to see who we're going to read for. And all I'm going to do you prefer 2 cards or 3 cards for Lenormand?
I usually prefer to read in pairs.
Okay, so we'll do pairs. And we got other people saying they love Xena. Heck yeah, y'all. And I practiced the Xena war cry, just so everybody knows. Okay, Cindy W., I want a reading, please. Alexa Rose wants a reading. And Lisa. Those are our 3, guys. Cindy, Alexa, and Lisa, and chaotic this and that. So this one is for Cindy. I'm going to pull 2 cards. I'm going to show them to Eva and let her tell you the message that she gets for you. Are you comfortable with that?
Sure.
I completely forgot to ask you. I'm so sorry. Nothing like being thrown under the bus.
That's okay. We'll make it work.
We get pretty interesting pair. I get cross and key. Let me see if it'll get, let's get it focused first. This is for Cindy W.
For Cindy W. All right. These are some of my favorite cards. Around here we have some fantastic old motels that actually still use those keys. So that was how I came up with the image for that. And then the cross is actually from up by where Georgia O'Keeffe is from. So for me, what I'm seeing with this card is I am seeing for you, this is showing a destiny aspect. And I see that there's something coming up that is going to be challenging for you, but is also going to give you the freedom to really do something fun and exciting. So if there's like a creative project that you've been thinking about and haven't been quite sure about making the leap, this is going to be a good time to do that.
Very good. And that's actually, when I looked at it, I thought, okay, something's going to end and something's going to open. So absolutely, Cindy. And Cindy, I know you've got something going on in your life. I know Cindy online. So I know you've got something craptastic in your life that you have to do every day. So maybe it's the ending of craptastic and the opening of something better.
The ending of craptastic is always excellent.
Right? Okay, and the next one is Alexis Rose. So this is for Alexis Rose. And Alexis gets first the garden and second fish. Okay, Alexis Rose, let's get the cards up here and get them focused so you can see them. I love that garden. That southwestern garden is freaking gorgeous. But
isn't that fantastic?
Oh, man, it's beautiful. I want to go live there. So what do you say about garden and fish?
Well, for these, Alexis, Is it Alexa or Alexis?
Alexis.
Alexis. It's a really pretty name. You don't hear that one too often anymore. So for this one, Alexis, it talked about, I always equate the garden with parties. And, the fish are, of course, money or currency or cash flow. So I see for you an event that's coming up that's going to revolve around money, and that could be some sort of charity event where you go, or there's a fundraiser. I know that there's some fantastic things, at least around here, going on the summer. We've got the fair coming up. So any events that you've got that are local, absolutely check those out, because I see those working out as being something really, really good for you.
Yeah, I mean, garden, party, celebration, and fish, success, wealth, abundance, go. If you have been thinking about not going to something, get your butt in the car and head.
Yeah, no kidding. This could be the time that, you win a drawing or something, or a door prize, and it's I see good things.
It is auspicious. Now, we're going to look at Lisa Dom next, and then we'll do Nathan last. But Lisa Dom, and we're pulling 2 cards for you, Lisa. And if y'all will leave us some feedback in the chat room, I'd appreciate it. And do remember, you can get a full reading by going to Tucumcari Tarot. They're on Facebook. I believe you have a website for Tucumcari Tarot as well.
Yes, I do.
So, and I'll add that to the drop down, because I forgot to do that. But y'all go and do that. Go get readings. You don't have to get readings from me. I'm not a jealous reader. I think it's a good thing to expand and go check out others. So,
and I do X number of free promo readings every month. It's like the first 5 people that request them, they get them for free. And I start with a single card reading for under $10. So
there you go, guys. Now, Lisa Dom gets the Moon and Clover. Wow, we're getting some great readings out of these cards.
Really fantastic mixes here.
Yeah, let me get this focus. Let me focus on them for a minute, and I'll blah, 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 blah. There are those gorgeous cards. There's one of those gorgeous moon sets. Okay, go.
Okay, so for me, the first thing that pops into my head when I see this is romance. I see that there's some sort of romantic event or experience that's coming up. So if you're single, which, I don't know for sure if you are, but if you are, I see this as a great date night card. Somebody is going to ask you out. You're going to go do something fun, and it's going to lead to a really nice romantic relationship. If you're already involved with someone, it's a good time to go take a date night and reconnect with your partner.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I love your clover is the same kind of clover that we used it's in our Thumbelina, is who in our fairy tale Lenormand. That's who our clover is. And we've got Thumbelina sleeping under the clover.
If I could get more clover to grow in my yard, that would be fantastic. We have a bunch of those goat heads, and I swear if I step on another one of those things, it's just going to drive me crazy.
And do you know how to kill them?
I don't. I haven't found anything yet that seems to work real well.
Well, the way I found is that you weed eat the yard, you poison the yard, you cut it all down, then you water the yard heavily, put down thick plastic, like that really thick stuff, in 2 layers, and then lock it down and leave it like that for about 6 weeks. And what it does is it causes the ground to heat up so hot that it kills off everything all the way down.
Oh, wow.
I've never tried it. Our house in Vernon is, you can't even walk to the front door if we haven't done weed eating, because the goat heads are like, gotcha.
Oh, they're horrible.
And guys, if you have goat head stickers, just count your blessings. They are one of the most painful things. I've gotten them in my big toe because I was wearing flip-flops into the house. I said some un-Girl Scout-like words.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. They drive right in there pretty deep sometimes.
Okay, let's see. We've got Oh, Rich says he wants to study Lenormand more. Rich, I would highly suggest you look up the World Lenormand Association. Tony Puhle, Puhle, is the overseer of that. She's from Germany. They do classes on Facebook that I have taken, and they're excellent. They're not super expensive, and I would suggest joining that and signing up for some of the classes on Facebook. She's really good, and she does videos and is really good at answering. Eva, do you have any tips on how to learn Lenormand?
For me, part of the reason that I designed the sites in the Southwest Lenormand was that, sure, I can get the keywords, but it's adding in those other aspects, the suits of the cards and the different number correspondences and stuff, which is why I created this deck, so that it was all sort of in one place. But just practice, practice, practice. Get yourself a really great book. I think it's like the Essential Lenormand Companion or whatever. Yep. And then trust your intuition. If you look at a card or a set of cards and, you think of something that maybe isn't exactly what the official, meaning of it is, go with what your intuition is.
I thought I had the Ronna George book here. Ronna has a deck out, and I just moved it, so I know it's not sitting over here right now. It's stinking gorgeous. If you like Middle Eastern, Lebanon, the Ottoman Empire, things of that nature, it's gorgeous. And Rana is on my shit list right now. If you're watching Rana, she got me hooked on a show that's Turkish with subtitles called The Magnificent Century.
Yes, I checked that one out after you mentioned it the other day. That's pretty cool.
The first season has 48 episodes. So I don't binge. I make myself, like, for lunch, you could sit down and eat and watch one episode. But it's lush costuming, it's gorgeous scenery, and it is a frickin' soap opera. I love it. So it's very much a telenovela, but in Turkish. So, and it's historically accurate from what I see. That's one of my favorite periods of history. And it's about Suleiman and his personal relationships as well as his conquering. He was one of the most successful, we'll just call him a land expander.
Yep.
So now let's take a look at he's under the impression that Lenormand was more strict in the interpretations. Rich, I would say that they are. If you do classes with the World Lenormand Association, they are going to be very definitely keyed in on keywords and not going out with your intuition. As an intuitive reader, it's really hard for me not to. But if you want to be a traditional Lenormand reader, yeah, stick to the keywords. If you want to be a blended Lenormand reader, bring your intuition in. So, it's and don't listen if you're gonna be a blended reader. Don't listen to the hardcore Lenormand people, because they will trash it. It's not their cup of tea. They are very hardcore about keywords and how you do meanings. Oh, and Donna De La Rose here on YouTube has an excellent Lenormand.
Oh, she's fantastic. And I think if you're somebody who starts with Lenormand and goes to tarot, you have a lot easier time than if you're somebody who's been reading tarot a lot and tries to go back to Lenormand. It's a definite adjustment to two different systems.
Yeah, it really is. I have to really step back out of my tarot self, because I've read tarot since '85 professionally and started in '80. So it's really hard for me because it's so core me. But let's take a look for Chaotic This and That, aka my baby boy Nathan, and see what he gets for his two cards.
Okay.
Okay. And he gets the cross and the tree.
The cross and the tree. What an interesting combination. There's some really interesting combinations here.
Right? That's what
So,
I was thinking. I was like, wow.
so because the tree is centered on health, and the cross talks a lot about a challenge or a burden, I see some health issues coming up, or some existing health issues. The tree talks about mind and mental health. So, I'm seeing that maybe you need to focus a little bit more on self care, for doing something for yourself so that you don't get burned out.
Yeah, and could this be anything about an exercise and diet program? Showing some signs of, hey, that's paying off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You could definitely make that assumption. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really love this. Nathan, he's become very dear to me through um, what is that place called? Facebook. I'm looking for. I just got a new bag, and now I know what's going to go in it. So let me get stuff out of it. I'm going to put that deck in. This deck, y'all, is available. It's available at her website that is down below. To find Tucumcari Tarot, I believe, tarot.com, or is it a Weebly site also?
Yep. Nope. That one is an actual .com. The Tiamat design is, I had a lot of people that they were interested in just the cards I was designing and not the tarot reading aspect. So I'm trying to split them into almost two separate entities. But if you go to tucumcaritarot.com, I also have a tab there that says divination products. And if you scroll down, there's all of my decks, that I've created, as well as the Lenormand companion book that went with the Tudor Lenormand. I'm finishing up the Sights of the Southwest companion book right now. I hope to have that done probably within the next couple weeks.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, do you have desktop publishing like Velour for putting together a book?
I use Create Space, which is an Amazon company. Together the PDF. I type that up in Word, format it correctly, upload it, and they handle the print on demand. And they'll also make it into a Kindle book too. So
yeah, that's how I do my. That's how Hero's Journey, my mapping writer's book for tarot. But why I was asking is I am fixed to get the Velour product, Vellum, not Velour, Vellum. And if you ever want, I need something to practice with. So
okay.
if you ever want me to run it through there and see what it does, we can put images in and that sort of stuff, and I could just send it right back to you.
Okay, sounds cool.
Yeah. Now I'm going to pull two cards for Eva and see what she gets. And then I'm going to pull two for me because I never do that. And Eva gets, the Moon and the Fox. And I love that Mexican fox. Did you do that one, or is that another found picture that you use?
That one is a found picture.
Really gorgeous. So Moon and Fox, what I see here is a successful woman being recognized, because the fox can be a redheaded woman, and I believe I see a hint of ginger on the other side of the camera.
That would be true.
So I would say this is about you finding some success and getting some much needed recognition.
Sounds good to me.
Right? Some see the fox as a scammer or lies or something like that. But in this case, when you've got it with the moon, for me, I flip over to the alternative woman card, particularly because she is a redhead. So that for me would point out that card was about her. Do you have any identification with fox
with the fox, not so much. I mean, I agree with your redheaded, rather than the lies and the treachery and stuff that sometimes goes with the fox card.
Now I'm going to do me, and I'm going to let Miss Eva tell me what she sees. So, and I get path and garden.
Boy, you're very outdoorsy today, aren't you?
Right?
All right, so the garden and the path, which, I love these cards. I love and you can see on the path card, you know, the sunsets that are out here, and they're just.
Yeah, let me pull that up for everybody so they can really see that. I'm going to talk over you for just a minute so we can get it to focus. And back country roads, and y'all, this is between her and me, I believe, or it's all the way up to Santa Fe. But it's beautiful. Do you remember where that image is from?
That I believe is from here in Quay County. I don't remember exactly where. I sort of drive around and you know, check out things. But for this, I'm seeing you getting out into the outdoors, taking some traveling. Maybe we can take our road trip.
And actually, I have on my once I've got some readings to get done, but then I'm going to go out to a local area and look for feathers. So I'm really on a big feather hunt, y'all. I'm putting together a package, and I need feathers for it. And I've got tons of doves. Doves around here are, for me, a freaking nuisance bird.
Oh yeah, we've got a ton of those here too.
And we have an interloper dove to the Eurasian dove, and they have a really kind of call, and they're just flipping obnoxious at the feeder. I've seen them land on sparrows to get them to go away. So they're on my list. Now, before we finish up, and we did get some feedback. Somebody is asking how to find your website. It's Tucumcari. It's Tucumari. Tucum. I just misspelled it. Tucumcari. Tarot.
Yep.
And that's where you can go to get readings from Eva. So please do. And if you saw her on this video, I'd really appreciate it. And Eva, I would love to have you back. I really would like for us to meet up and go do some fun New Mexico things, and then we can
absolutely
make a silly video for folks to watch. So
sounds good.
Very, very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Up. And as y'all know, she doesn't have a YouTube channel yet.
I got to work over my fear of being on camera.
Well, you did fine here. You did a live show. So
baby steps. Baby steps.
I may have forgotten to tell her it was live and that we're going to do readings at the end, but you know. So when I say goodbye, I always tell people seek joy. Do you have a special way you like to say goodbye to folks?
I don't. I probably ought to come up with one, but I don't.
Well, seek joy, y'all. Pass it on. And thanks for sharing this video. We appreciate it.